Hi guys, my name is Kodrin and I want to welcome you back to our channel. In our previous episode we unboxed our JP heater. I will put the link down in the description for that video. In this episode we will unbox another two products. The first one is our lithium battery. It's a 200 amp hour 12 volt battery from Premium Lithium. And the other product is our 2000 watt pure wave sine inverter from Flame Zoom. So let's get started. We will start our unboxing with our lithium battery. Here we have a manual. We have the knobs. A lot of protection foam. It's very well packed. And this is the battery. This is the lithium iron phosphate battery from Premium Lithium. Some specifications are the battery nominal voltage it's 12 volts, nominal capacity it's 200 amp hours, life cycle between 2000 and 5000 cycles. The dimensions of the battery are length 485 millimeters, width 175 millimeters and height 240 millimeters. The weight of the battery is 23 kilograms, which translates to 50.7 pounds. The battery also has a battery management system integrated in it. It displays the percentage, the voltage, and probably consumption in watts and the time that the battery was used. I will now use a digital multimeter to check the voltage of the battery. So I will set the multimeter on 20 volts and I will connect the negative and the positive, and we read 13.4 volts. The bolts for connections, they are 8 millimeters in diameter, and you will need a Allen key 4 millimeters to fix them in place. You can screw it in by hand and then tighten it up with the Allen key. Same for the negative port. Some washers are also provided, and then you can fix in place the nuts. Red for positive and black for the negative. Battery has also built-in handles, very useful for transport, and if you don't have a gym membership you can use them to do some weightlifting. Now we will put the battery aside and we'll open the box which contains our inverter. I will now start unboxing our inverter. First we have our user manual for the pure sine wave power inverter. Some protective foam. Have a bag with cables and fuses and the key. We have another bag which contains the remote operation control and the cable to connect it, and another cable, and of course the inverter. Flame zoom, pure sine wave inverter, 2000 watt continuous, 4000 watt peak. On one side it has the battery connections and two fans for ventilation. On top it has a display built in, and on the other side we have two USB connections. We have a power LED, a fault LED, and an on-off switch. This is the port for connecting the cable of the remote, and these are 3 UK sockets. And on the sides has a metal plate with 2 holes, so you can screw it in on the floor or on the wall like this. In this bag we have the remote and the cable which connects the remote to the inverter, and another cable which I think it connects on this port which says it's a ground. In this other bag we have 2 cables to connect the inverter to the battery. And we also have a key to tighten the cables, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spare 40 amp fuses. So this is all that comes in the package, and of course the user manual, which contains all the important information. So now I will try to connect the inverter to the battery to test them both. The battery cables that are supplied with the inverter, they don't have any writing on them, so I don't know exactly how thick they are, but for comparison I have here a 16 square millimeter cable, you can see here, which look about the same, so I will presume this is 16 square millimeters, which can carry 110 amps. For this test I will use these cables, but when installing in our camper van I will use 35 square millimeters to connect the battery and the inverter, because the inverter is 2000 watts divided by 12 volts, that means 166 amps, and the 35 millimeter squared cable can carry up to 180 amps. But for this test I will use a small appliance that only draws 100 watts, so this cable should be enough. The first issue that we encounter with this cable is that this connector is for 6mm bolt, which is on the inverter side, but the battery has 8mm bolt, so this connector will not fit. So I will try to enlarge the hole of the connector just for this test. To enlarge the hole of the connector, as I already did here. You can see the difference. I used a round file and gently insert it and move it around and file the inside of the connector until it fits the 8mm bolt. Now we have both the connections with the holes enlarged, so we'll just try to see if they fit. So this one fits perfectly, and this one also fits perfectly. I will start the connection with the inverter. So first thing, you have to take out this plastic cap by unscrewing it. Then take this plastic cover off, and with the provided key just unscrew the nut. There are two washers here, so I will connect the red wire on the positive terminal with the 6mm bolt. Screw the nut back in place and tighten it up with the key, just to make sure we have a good connection. Right, then we put back the plastic cover and the plastic bolt nut, sorry. And we'll do the same with the negative connection. And this side is done. After reading the user manual of the inverter, I found out that I have to connect this cable to the ground. Here it's a connection for the ground. For the purpose of this test, I will connect this cable here at the ground, and I will use this workbench that has a metal bolt in it to connect to the ground. In our camper van, of course, this connection will be to the chassis of the van. And after that I will connect the inverter to the battery. So first we have to unscrew this nut, insert the connector on the bolt and screw the nut back in. Untangle the wire, and then with this crocodile connector I will connect it on a bolt here. I also will connect the remote operating control before connecting to the battery. And at the back of the inverter we have this slot, and just click it in. So now let's connect to the battery. We'll start with the positive connector. Put the washer and screw in tightly the nut, and then we connect the negative. Ouch. Just a spark, nothing more. So let's start the inverter and see what happens. According to the manual, you have to hold the on-off button for half a second, 1 second to start the inverter. So let's go. And we have liftoff. As you can see, the BMS display lit up, and also the display of the inverter. It says 13.5 volt, temperature 21 degrees, and for now at the output it's 0 watt. So let's plug in a load to see what happens. I have here an electric knife which it says 220 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz and 100 watts. So I will plug it in into one of the 3 sockets. And powered it. And here we go. Watch here on the BMS what happens when we operate the machinery. So now it's 0014 watts, 1.11 amps. This is with the knife turned off. You can see that it draws 8.25 amps roughly and 107 watts. And this timer shows remaining time of the battery. Now it's 99 hours plus, but if you operate the machinery, you can see it drops to around 24 hours. So you can use this 24 hours with the full battery. Basically this product is rated at 100 watts and the inverter has a 90% efficiency, so that's why we get around 107 watts consumption. So yeah, this is our setup. I'm really pleased with it and I hope it will work very fine in our camper van. Thank you very much for watching our video and see you on the next one. Please share, subscribe and give us a like. It really helps a lot our channel. Thank you very much. See ya.